Hello everyone. Today's use case is we would like to create an online form where school representatives would go to that form to request presentations from us. Presentation is a custom object that we created in Salesforce. We would like them to be able to see a list of schools, and schools are accounts. We'd like them to see a list of schools and schools only and nothing else. Now let's see how this is already built. First, I've got a screen. In the screen, we have a lookup field. This is looking up on the account object, and we are only displaying the schools and nothing else. I'll explain that in further details when we build this together. And then that's the only information we need from them. And then we'll go ahead and create that presentation with the name with the school that they selected. And then we're just giving it a random name for now. Now let's build that from scratch and talk more about the lookup field. This is going to be a screen flow. And the only thing that we need on this screen is a lookup field. What is it? Now let's clear a couple of entries out of the way. The API name, I'll just name it a school name. This is the API name of this field. And then the label, school name. This is what the user would see. Now, the most important two entries here are the object API name and the field API name. Now, the way this lookup field works is that we will always ask the question, where are we looking up to, not where are we looking up from. In other words, from which object are we looking is not an important question. To which object are we looking is the important question. In this case, we need accounts. So we need to be looking up two accounts. So I'll show you this in a diagram. We have the case object, for example. On the case object, we have a field called account, and it is looking up to the account. And on the presentation object that we created, it also has a lookup field called account or called school, and it is looking up to the account. So what we need to insert in the flow is the name of the object from which we are looking, and it is looking up two accounts, and the field API name of the lookup field on that object. So if we select case, for example, then case would be the object API name, and the field account on the case object is the field API name. If we select presentation, then presentation is the object from which we are looking, and the field account, the lookup field on the presentation, is the field API name. There are many other objects that are looking up to accounts, and you can use any one of those objects, any one of those lookup fields on any of those objects. It doesn't matter. What matters is that they are looking up to accounts. Now, I could use the case. Let's try to grab the details of the case object. So I've got the case here. And on the case object, the field that's looking up to the account is the account ID here. So I'll use that. Okay, we're good. Now let's debug that and see what it would show like. Look, very creative name. Now, what we can see here is a list of schools. Now, just like, observe for a second, we've got schools. These are custom records that we created, and we've got Dickinson PLC and Burlington. And I think we can like find more. Just not search. So it's showing not just schools, it's showing other records too. One thing that I did create is I created a custom field on the account object. It's called school, and this is a checkbox. If it is checked, it means this record is a school. If it's not checked, it means it's not a school. Now, the use case is that we would like the school representative to see only schools, not all accounts. We need them to see only schools. Now, to do that, we need a filter. Basically, on the case object, on any lookup field, not just case object, on any lookup field, one thing you can always do is you can add a filter criteria. So you can add a lookup filter, and then you can specify conditions. Now, that would show the difference between using a lookup on the case object and a lookup on the presentation object. With this current setup, both of them are the exact same thing. Both of them would show all accounts in the screen. But then what I would do is on the presentation object, the lookup that we have here, I already created a criteria, a filter criteria that says school equals true. The school checkbox field is checked, meaning it would only return the records that are school. That's why I would use the presentation object instead of the case object. Just to grab this information, this is the API name of the field. It does not like it because it doesn't understand that the case object doesn't have a field called account. But then we need the name of the presentation object. And now it would understand that on the presentation object, there is a field called account. We're done with this, and let's also add the create presentation. Creating presentation for the account. That's going to be from the screen component, the school name, the record ID. This is what we need. And the name, we'll just give it a random name. And then let's debug that and go ahead and create it as well. Now, if you would notice, now we have only the list of schools and we don't see the rest of the accounts. I'll just select school 1 and then we're done. I'll go back to the presentations, and it was named presentation 10. This is the one that we just created, and it's looking up to school 1. This is how to work with the lookup component in the screen. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time.